I have been interested in the story of Oak Island just since I was a kid. Okay, for the people out there who may not know, what is Oak Island and what are you guys looking for?
Oak Island is sort of one of the world's big unsolved mysteries.
65 January, there's an article about Oak Island. And I turned the first page and I was lost. I wanted to know who, what, when, where, why, and how.
The ground itself seems to be fighting back on Oak Island with machines failing and strange forces at play. But Marty Lagina and his crew have pushed through. They have found something that defies all explanation, an object that shines with an otherworldly light and a carved clue from a forgotten time. This is the moment the world has been waiting for, the island that never sleeps. For more than 200 years, Oak Island has been a thorn in the side of history, a puzzle box with no key. This small, tree-covered speck of land off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, holds a secret that people have died trying to find. Truth be told, it all started back in 1795 when a few teenage boys found a strange, sunken spot under an old oak tree. Thinking they'd stumbled upon pirate treasure, they started digging. What they found was the beginning of the world's most frustrating and dangerous treasure hunt, the money pit. They dug, and at every 10 feet they hit a layer of oak logs. Then they found layers of charcoal, putty, and even a stone slab covered in strange symbols no one could read. But at 90 feet down, the real nightmare began. The pit suddenly flooded with seawater, a clever booby trap designed by some long-dead engineer to protect whatever lies at the bottom. Since then, countless teams have tried and failed, spending millions of dollars and tragically costing 6 men their lives. The island has guarded its secret well, a stubborn mystery that refuses to be solved. But the island didn't count on the grit of 2 brothers from Michigan who were about to change the game forever.
That is a very old piece of a tool, some sort. It's all wrought iron.
Yeah.
For Rick Lagina, the Oak Island mystery wasn't just a casual interest, it was a fire lit in his soul. It all began when he was just 11 years old, flipping through a magazine and landing on an article about the legendary money pit. From that day forward, the island's secret became his obsession. He knew with a certainty he couldn't explain that he was meant to be a part of its story. Years went by, but the dream never faded. Finally, he and his younger brother Marty, a successful energy businessman, made a pact. They decided to pool their resources and do what others only dreamed of. They bought a controlling stake in Oak Island itself. They didn't just throw money at the problem. They assembled a world-class team comprising historians, engineers, geologists, and even deep-sea diving experts. Using the most advanced technology money could buy, they launched the most serious scientific search in the island's history, all documented on their hit TV show, The Curse of Oak Island. They were determined to succeed where all others had failed, pouring their hearts and fortunes into the stubborn dirt.
Billy.
Yep.
Reposition the excavator here, do a cross section along that end, try and find the other wall, get our dimensions.
Little did they know the island's defenses weren't just flooding tunnels and buried logs. Something else, something unseen, was waiting for them. The team was making real progress, digging deeper into the island's secrets than anyone before them. The mood was electric. Everyone could feel they were on the verge of something huge. The massive drills and excavators hummed with power, chewing through the tough ground near the money pit. And then, without any warning, everything went silent. The engines on the heavy machinery just stopped. There were no alarms, no sputtering sounds, no system failures flashing on the control panels. One second they were running perfectly, and the next, they were dead. Panic began to bubble up. The crew, seasoned professionals, were completely baffled. Electricians swarmed the equipment, checking every wire, every generator, every fuse. Everything was perfect. There was absolutely no logical reason for the shutdown. A chilling thought settled over the group. It felt like someone had flipped a switch from afar. One of the team members, looking pale, whispered that it felt like they weren't being allowed to dig any further. Talk turned to wild ideas, like a powerful electromagnetic field or some kind of energy source buried deep underground, a force that was actively pushing them away. This invisible resistance was terrifying, but it also proved one thing. They were getting close to something someone had gone to incredible lengths to protect. A clue from the swamp. While the mystery of the stalled machines hung in the air, another team was working in the swampy part of the island, a place that previous searchers had often ignored. About 3 feet under the murky water and mud, a shovel hit something solid. It wasn't a rock. Carefully, they pulled it free. At first, it just looked like a waterlogged piece of wood, but as they cleaned away the grime, everyone's breath caught in their throats. This was no ordinary piece of driftwood. It was perfectly shaped, clearly worked by human hands centuries ago. But that wasn't the incredible part. The surface was covered in strange carvings. These weren't just random scratches, they were deliberate patterns and symbols, including curved lines and shapes that looked like arrows pointing in a specific direction. It looked like a piece of a puzzle, maybe part of a secret door or the lid of a hidden chest. Rick Lagina handled it with extreme care, recognizing it instantly as a massive clue. Historians on the team confirmed that such symbolic carvings were often used by secret groups to mark a path for those who knew the code. This single piece of wood was a game changer, a direct message from the past. But it was what they found shining in the nearby soil that would blow the entire mystery wide open. As the excitement over the carved wood rippled through the team, the dig near the money pit suddenly took an even more dramatic turn. While sifting through the earth pulled up from a deep borehole, a glint of light caught a crew member's eye.
Oh, no way.
Wow.
Is that a diamond?
I don't know.
It wasn't the dull gleam of a coin or a piece of old metal. This was different. It was a brilliant, almost living sparkle coming from within the dark soil. With trembling hands, they carefully brushed the dirt away to reveal a stunning object. It was a crystal, but unlike anything they had ever seen before. It wasn't a diamond, and it wasn't glass. It was an ancient, strangely cut stone that seemed to pulse with a faint light blue glow, as if a tiny star was trapped inside. The team fell silent, staring in awe. You could feel the history radiating from it. This wasn't a natural formation, it was an artifact, something precious that had been lost or hidden for a very, very long time. Rick immediately secured the crystal, knowing it was more than just a pretty stone. This felt different. This felt like a key. What could this mysterious, glowing crystal be? And more importantly, how in the world did a French artifact end up buried deep beneath a remote Canadian island? The answer would come from a high-tech lab, and it would be more shocking than anyone could have imagined. Rick and Marty didn't waste a second. The carved wood and the mysterious crystal were rushed to a top-tier scientific laboratory for analysis. They needed facts, not just theories, and they were about to get them. The first report to come back was on the wood. Using radiocarbon dating, scientists were able to pinpoint its age. The results were staggering. The wood was cut sometime between the years 1200 and 1400 AD. This wasn't just old, this was from the exact time period when the legendary Knights Templar were at the height of their power. Then came the report on the crystal. The news was even more mind-blowing. Material analysis showed that it was composed of minerals that could be traced back to a single specific region in France. And get this, those minerals are only found in a handful of underground caves there. This wasn't just a French artifact, it was an incredibly rare one. But the biggest shock came when scientists studied its properties. It bent light in a way that normal crystals don't, and it seemed to possess strange energy patterns. They concluded it wasn't for decoration. It was likely part of an ancient device, perhaps for navigation, or even as a key for some kind of machine. Now they had two impossible artifacts: a piece of wood from the Templar era and a rare French crystal with bizarre properties. The question was no longer if there was a connection, but how deep it went. Suddenly, all the pieces on the board clicked into place. The carved wood from the 1300s, the unique crystal from a specific place in France. It all pointed in one electrifying direction: the Knights Templar. For those who don't know, the Templars were a powerful and wealthy Christian military order. It's said they possessed not only immense treasure but also sacred knowledge and holy relics that were hidden from the world. Their home base? France. History tells us that in the early 1300s, the King of France turned on the Templars, seeking to seize their wealth and power. Many were arrested and executed, but legend says the Templars got wind of the plan. They supposedly loaded their immense treasure and sacred artifacts onto a fleet of ships and vanished, their destination one of history's greatest mysteries. Many historians believe they sailed for the New World generations before Columbus, and Oak Island lies directly on those ancient sea routes, a perfect place to hide something of incredible value.
Well, this is a little piece that Gary and Jack found on Lot 7.
The crystal, with its direct link to a secret Templar region in France, was practically a signed confession. Could Oak Island be the final resting place of the Templar treasure? The team now believe they weren't just digging for gold, but for one of the most sought-after prizes in human history. Beneath the surface. Armed with this explosive new theory, the team redoubled their efforts, focusing their most advanced technology on the area around the money pit. They fired up the ground-penetrating radar and sonar scanners, sending powerful waves deep into the earth. As the data came back and formed an image on the screen, the entire room fell silent. There, displayed in clear digital lines, was something that shouldn't be there. It was a long, straight, perfectly formed structure, a tunnel. It wasn't a natural cave or a fissure in the rock. This was man-made, no doubt about it. It stretched for a considerable distance, heading in the exact direction that ancient maps and their new clues suggested. Rick felt a jolt of pure adrenaline. This could be it. The main tunnel, the path to the chamber everyone had been trying to find for over 2 centuries. As they drilled down to verify the scanner's findings, they hit more proof. Old hand-hewn wooden beams used for support, a stone lining along the sides, and at one point a drill bit broke through into an open space. They could feel a change in air pressure, indicating an empty chamber below. They were no longer searching. They were standing right on the doorstep. But as they prepared for the final push, a new, more modern mystery began to emerge that was just as strange as the one buried below. Here's where the story gets really strange. You would think that a discovery of this magnitude, artifacts scientifically dated to the Templar era, a possible link to their lost treasure, would be front-page news all over the world. But truth be told, there was an eerie silence. The major news networks, the big papers, nothing. The story was exploding on social media with fans on Reddit and YouTube going wild with theories, but the official channels were quiet. It felt as if a curtain was being deliberately drawn around the island.
So based on the composition, you got potassium, you got phosphorus, sulfur, magnesium. So based on the impurities I'm seeing here, these are indicative of, I'd say, between 1500s and 1700s as well.
Why the silence? Some people believe that what's being found on Oak Island isn't just treasure. They think it's information so powerful it could shake the very foundations of history and religion. If the Templars really did hide something there, it might not just be gold, but ancient documents or relics that certain powerful groups would rather stay buried. Whispers started online from people claiming to live near the island. They talked about entry to certain areas being quietly closed off to the public and seeing unmarked black SUVs on the roads when the team was making a major breakthrough. No one knows for sure, but the lack of attention felt deliberate. The Lagina team even admitted that for legal reasons, there were some things they just couldn't show on camera. A bigger secret was at play, one that suggested the treasure was only the beginning of the story. Right now, the team on Oak Island is at a tipping point. Everything, the years of struggle, the millions of dollars, the incredible technological effort, and Rick Lagina's lifelong dream has led to this single moment. They have the carved wood, the shining crystal, the scientific proof, and a confirmed tunnel leading to a secret chamber. All the evidence points to the Knights Templar and a secret they brought across the ocean 700 years ago. The question on everyone's mind is deafening. What happens next? Rick has said this discovery is the single biggest clue they have ever found. The team is now preparing for their most ambitious operation yet, to excavate and enter that hidden tunnel. They are re-examining every old map, every ancient text, looking for any final clue that could help them bypass the traps they know must be waiting. The excitement is mixed with a heavy sense of dread. Oak Island has a reputation for breaking hearts and minds. Every time you think you have an answer, the island asks a new, more difficult question. The real game has just begun. They are closer than anyone has ever been to the ultimate prize. But as the drills power up one more time, ready to pierce the final barrier, one has to wonder if they are about to find the Templar treasure or if they are about to unleash a truth the world isn't ready for. What do you think they'll find beneath Oak Island? A priceless artifact or a suppressed secret meant to stay hidden forever? Let us know in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe for more mysteries unraveling in real time.